Hi, Alec Purvis here, and I'm running as a candidate in the municipal election here in Guelph, Ontario for Ward 2. I'm at Joseph Wolfon Park right now, and we have a plaque behind us. And one of the things that Joseph, the fact that the park was named after, was the fact that his civic responsibility, accountability, and pride. And the fact that he was a person that cared very deeply for his community is that he had a huge impact on the community as well, as far as the responsibility aspect, the accountability, and just the pride for the community as well. I had some residents around Arthur Street here, right around the hospital, end up contacting me, basically talking about encampments that are popping up all over the city. And I'm here at Joseph Wolfon Park. And again, there's several things that I want to be able to discuss about this. Is first of all, the fact that uh, the homeless situation is only getting worse. And I think that people understand that. And the fact that you have a lot of people, whether it be the economy, government cutbacks, everything else, that some people just don't have a place. If you're on Ontario Works and you're only getting $733 a month, um, I'd like to know how you would survive because I know I definitely could not. It would be impossible. To pay rent and everything else, like even the rent is more than double that, sometimes even triple what the government has actually given you, let alone as far as food and clothing and everything else. So that's one of the first things I wanted to be able to talk about. Secondly, is that moving people, we have a lot of this, not in my backyard that's going on right now. You have people that don't have anywhere else going, so they're setting up in the corner of a park somewhere. And this particular one, Wolfon, is actually in a green zone. So they are technically allowed to be able to be here, even according by the bylaw maps. But the bigger issue is when we have the not in my backyard mentality going on, where should they go? And that's the biggest issue is that right now we have encampments that are popping up all over the city. And then bylaw comes along. Some of them are in illegal spots, so they can't do much about it. Others are not in legal spots, so they're able to move them along, like down at the Royal City Park. They're able to move them along somewhere else. But nothing is getting solved, and the situation is only getting worse. So there's a couple of things I would like to just put out there. And again, it would take a lot of negotiations between different agencies, different governments. Is there needs to be a property set aside specifically to be able to deal with this. Now we need to remember that a lot of the people that are homeless, they don't get along with each other. And a lot of that goes back with is the fact that you have basically about 60-70% are actually drug addicts, whereas the other 30-40% are basically just economic fallout as far as the economy and everything else, is that they just cannot afford to be able to find a place to be able to live. And a lot of that has to do with our housing situation, the housing crisis, everything else. There's numerous different things that play into the situation that we're at right now. But just moving people along to the next park is not solving anything. It's just making matters worse. And as the summer goes on, and as we get into fall, things are just going to continue to get worse. So we need to try to find some active solutions. One of the things I'm suggesting is we need to find a location that is large enough that throw some porta potties in there, allow the different mobile units to be able to come in, to be able to do social service calls, those kind of things. Continue to provide the free bus passes so they can get down to social services or get down to the Royal City Mission or get down to the bench in order to make sure that they're fed, those kind of things. But the encampments that are happening all over the city are only going to continue to grow. And when you have neighborhoods that rise up and say, we don't want this in our backyard, and you're just bouncing them along somewhere else, it's not solving anything. We need to have one specific site that we could, that's large enough that we could put people in to be able to allow them to be able to live their lives and everything else, to have the freedoms that they have. And at the same time, to be able to basically centralize all of the social services at the same time. So the only place that I could think of off the top of my head, and this will get a lot of the environmentalists upset, is we have the reformatory grounds is if we use 2 or 3 acres there, maximum. And it doesn't have to be the prime acres by the pond or over, right up by the jail or something like that, but there's some corner acreage there that we could use. There's very minimal as far as residential there. It is on bus routes, so as far as people needing to get downtown, they could do that. That would be the ideal spot. Put some porta potties in there, do some monitoring, whatever. Space them out so you're not having like the situation at 100 Victoria Street in Kitchener, but space them out, and just tell people, hey, you can go here, it's safe. The essential services that you will need, we could either do the mobile service coming in or make sure that you have the transportation to be able to get back downtown. That's one option that I could see. Again, we're not talking about taking over the entire reformatory lands or something like that, but just one small corner, one small section. Monitor it, set up the rules, everything else. And I think that a lot of the individuals, like the gentleman back here, is that they would go for that. Is that they are not intentionally trying to rile neighborhoods up. It's just they are out of options. And again, the other things that goes hand in hand with this is that there needs to be a bylaw written about as far as open drug use. We need to be harder on that and to be able to clamp down on that. What they do in the tents or what they do in their apartment buildings or homes or whatever is entirely up to them. But the open drug use bylaw needs to be more stricter. It needs to be more defined, and we need to be able to enforce that. It's the same like alcohol. If I was walking around right now with a beer in my hand, I guaranteed that a lot of these neighbors would be calling the police and basically complaining about me. And it would be justifiably right. It would be well within their right to be able to do that. And what I'm doing is wrong, plain and simple. So it's no different that with open drug use, is that, doing it inside your tent, your place of dwelling, your living space, whatever, entirely up to you, but not on the streets, not in the parks, not at the bus station, train station. Is we need to clamp down on that, and we need to be able to provide some boundaries and some orders. So anyhow, those are just some suggestions I have. Again, this particular spot here at Joseph Wolfon Park is that this is considered to be a green zone. And I know the neighbors, a lot of them, they don't like it, and I can understand their frustration. But at the same time, bylaw coming in here telling him he needs to move along, and what they've suggested is that he moves just across the river to the other side. It solves absolutely nothing because the residents on the other side, they would get all riled up, and nothing is getting solved here. We're just bouncing things along, kicking the can down the road, and we're not really dealing with the issues. Anyhow, my name is Alec Purvis, and I'm running for Ward 2 here in Guelph, Ontario.